Hi, I'm Tom Scarpello of Revology Cars, and this is car number 236, a 1968 Mustang Cobra Jet 135 series in Wimbledon White with black Nappa leather interior. Today I'm going to take you on a walk around of this car, and we're going to go for a drive. Let's get started. Okay, 1968 Mustang Cobra Jet 135 series. First of all, what is the 135 series? So back in 1968, when Ford launched the Cobra Jet V8 engine, it was the most powerful V8 production engine they'd ever produced. It was a big deal. 68 was the middle of the horsepower wars. This was the latest weapon in the Ford arsenal for street racers, for drag racers, and they wanted to promote it. As part of the promotional effort behind the Cobra Jet engine, they did a special run of 50 cars that were set up for drag racing. They were base cars, they were all white, black interior, the base spec, everything. It was all about lightweight and high performance. Cars were equipped with the Cobra Jet engine, manual transmission, 389 gears with limited slip. They were all built as a batch, and the first 3 digits of the VIN on all of the cars was 135. Which is why they're known today as the 135 series. It wasn't a marketing name, and the car wasn't named the 135. That was just a nickname that was given to it after the fact by the enthusiast community. The great thing about Mustang history, there's just so much of it. It seems like there's always new things to discover, and I didn't know about the 135 series until one of our clients brought it up to me. He had proposed that we do a car for him, a Cobra Jet, that would be built like the 135. And we looked into it, and we thought it was a really cool idea, so we decided to do a special run of 135 series Cobra Jets. And so this is the first of 5. This is a limited edition model. We'll only do 5. Let me take you through the Revology spec for the 135 series Cobra Jet. Now, the original Cobra Jet 135 series was a base car. It was not a GT. It was devoid of all of the additional equipment and so forth in an effort to keep it as lightweight as possible. So at the front, you do not have the fog lamps. Because this is a Cobra Jet, we need the additional hood clearance, so we have our fiberglass hood from the Cobra Jet. Otherwise, all stock appearing Mustang at the front. At the side, the Revology 135 series Cobra Jet rides on Torq Thrust wheels. It's the 17 by 9.5 with the 275 section width tires. So that's our largest, chunkiest tire size. The fenders have the stock Mustang badges, not the GT badges. There's no trim at the side except for a quarter panel ornament. At the rear of the car, the fuel cap is the standard 1968 fuel cap. The rear valance is the standard valance, not the valance with the cutouts for the dual exhaust tips. In this case, the tips are the turn down tips. They exit below the valance. So it's very much stock 1968 Mustang at the rear. Okay, so the interior of the 135 series Cobra Jet. Now, the original car is based on the base interior, which of course was, vinyl and plastic, but this is a Revology, so clearly we want a much more premium interior environment, but we do want to capture that theme of the original 135 series. So our 135 series has the black crinkle finish, veneers on the dash, the way the base car had it, no console. It also comes with a leather wrapped steering wheel and nylon loop carpet. So we're only going to do 5 of these. This is the first of 5, 135 series. This is how it comes. Let's go for a drive. Okay, driving the 135 series. Let's talk about this. One of the early examples, I think, of motorsports homologation, or maybe in this case, it wasn't really homologation as much as just offering a package that was accessible to grassroots racers to encourage them to race this specific model. Certain brands have been really adept at doing these kinds of models. Porsche with their Carrera Cup cars, Ferrari with the Ferrari Challenge. Those cars have their own dedicated one make series. It also gives buyers a place to race them. As a package, it really makes sense. Both of those brands have been in it a long, long time. Racing clearly is part of their heritage. It really fits. It's nice that Ford seems to be really enthusiastic about the new S650 Mustang, the 2024 Mustang, and racing variants by developing track-oriented variants of that car. So the Dark Horse R, the GT4 and the GT3 models are all track and racing focused. They've never had that many different race options. It's really unprecedented. It's neat that they're doing it. I hope that Ford is truly committed to staying in that motorsports segment of the market. It's not something you can just pop in and out of. Motorsports really takes a long-term commitment. Real racers don't want to buy an orphan vehicle. They need to know that there's going to be parts and technical support available, and frankly, people to race against. Nice thing about a one-make series is that, the cars are comparable. If you're racing in a one-make series, it's really driver versus driver more than just, someone having a superior car, and it's a lot more competitive. The MX-5 Cup is a great example of that. Mazda's been very, very deeply involved in grassroots racing for a long, long time. The MX-5 Cup is extremely competitive. You just never know who's going to win because the cars are so evenly matched. When you get a race car from the original equipment manufacturer, that's the ultimate expression of that car from the people who designed it. And people maybe don't think about this, but for the engineers that work on that program, it's a chance for them to really express their creativity, because all of these constraints that they work under every day are gone. Emissions and noise, and it's all about going fast and being reliable. And so it's a lot more focused set of criteria that they're working to achieve. It's just an interesting technical challenge for the engineering team. So it's fun. People get motivated. If you love cars, working on a race car is the ultimate. We hope Ford remains committed to doing racing versions of Mustang, keeping them updated, keeping them competitive. It's good for the brand. It's not going to fix everything. This win on Sunday, sell on Monday sounds good. But if what you have in the showroom on Monday is not what people want to buy, it doesn't matter if you win every Sunday. Ultimately, it comes down to is the product that you have to sell what the market wants. And right now, Mustang is only available as a two-door Cooper convertible. That format, there's just not a lot of demand for it nowadays. That car desperately needs a four-door version, ideally also a crossover version. And I don't mean an EV crossover like the Mach-E, which I'm a big fan of, and I'm perfectly happy with Ford using the Mustang name on the Mach-E. So I don't want that to be misconstrued, but I think a proper ICE crossover with Mustang chassis and powertrain, a four-door, those would be relevant body styles, would allow Ford to actually get some volume again. Mustang is barely building over 50,000 units a year. For an OEM, that's nothing. Cars have been canceled that sold 3 times that number, and Mustang's hanging around because it's an iconic brand, but you can only do that for so long. You can't justify, losing money, even though you've got an iconic brand. You got to keep that brand relevant. Motorsports are very difficult to quantify. It's easy for a company to lose its appetite for motorsports because a lot of big dollars go out and you don't see the benefit. So we really hope Ford is committed to motorsports with Mustang, but more importantly, needs to have relevant products in the showroom for people to buy. So the image value is great, but I don't care if Mustang wins every Sunday, it's not going to convince people that they don't need 2 rear doors. If they think they do, you got to have the right product. The image benefit of racing is, I think, a lot like the image benefit of Revology to Mustang. We are so tiny, so teeny tiny compared to the Mustang brand and its heritage and what it means. But it's a positive contribution, and any positive contribution is a good thing. Our customers, I would say the majority, don't currently own a Ford product. Several of them had Mustangs years ago. There's a connection to Mustang, but buying a Revology kind of makes Ford relevant to them again. And maybe when their company is replacing its truck fleet, maybe there's a higher likelihood that they'll replace their trucks with Ford trucks, for example. It's just getting in front of people, getting the message, kind of reminding them that you're there sometimes is all you really need to do. We're happy to be a part of the Mustang universe, and we just hope it keeps going.